Well, they do it. You're shaking the camera. When you move your legs. First experience should be an awkward, sweaty...
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Crying,
totally.
laughing mess. And you should both be in the same...
Total fuck up, literally. And then you can just both laugh about it because you both have no idea what you're doing.
This video is brought to you by Land of the Losers. I've only been promoting this book for 2 weeks and we've already sold over 150 copies, and the reviews that are coming back are amazing, as I knew they would be because this book is fantastic. If you want to read my review, check out the link in the description box below, and when you're ready to order your copy, whether it's hardcover or Kindle, make sure to use the special discount that's only available to my audience. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm here with my friend Sarah, who's going to bring her female perspective to our story today. Say hello, Sarah.
Hi.
So the story we've got for you today is from the subreddit True Femcells, which is sort of the female equivalent to incels. And the title of the post is, I got a boyfriend, but I am terrified. In brackets, sorry. So here goes. Hi guys, first I just want to say I'm sorry for the new account. I never really used Reddit for anything other than being able to feel a little less lonely by reading the posts of the sisters here. But I feel like now I really do need some advice. I was one of those girls who never got asked out, never got hit on, and never had sex all throughout college because I knew I was ugly and had awful self-esteem. Like many others, I chose to focus my energies on other things, so I did well in school and actually got into Oxford for a master's. In brackets, first time in my life I felt like I was worth something. Yay! I'm here now doing my program and, long story short, I actually met a guy, but I'm terrified for the following reasons. Number 1. Honestly, he's way out of my league. I swear I'm not some Becky or Stacey Light. I know I'm unattractive, and I know he's attractive. He's 6'2", good looking, and extremely extroverted and social. I'm introverted, insecure, and while I try to convince myself he likes me for a reason, I have serious impostor syndrome right now, and I can't get the thought out of my head that he could literally have the 8s and 9s in his lectures and nights out. Number 2. He's been in 2 long-term relationships before, both with beautiful girls that, obviously, he had sex with. I've never even so much as been naked with a guy. Basically, I have no experience. We've been dating for 3 weeks now, so sex is bound to happen at any moment. He doesn't know I'm a virgin. It'll sneak up on... Surprise! Sex! He doesn't know I'm a virgin. What the fuck do I do? Number 3, I'm constantly jealous. He literally has so many fucking Stacey friends, it's ridiculous. I honestly will never forget the first time he introduced me to some of them. I've gotten really observant over my life, and before they went through the whole bright Stacey smile, hey girl routine, I saw a glimpse of just...
Hey girl.
Hey girl. I saw a glimpse of just, what the fuck, why is he dating this girl? Written on their faces. He was walking into the dining hall to have dinner with me, and one of his Stacey friends put her hand on his arm while talking to him and laughing at everything he said, and I just felt so helpless. I really like him and feel super lucky that none of this is deserved on my part. But I also know that I'm still constantly comparing myself to other girls and feeling like utter shit. Does anyone have any advice for me? I know I'm incredibly fortunate and I want to repeat, I am not proud, nor do I feel I'm somehow above anyone on this subreddit. I'm not. I'm just stupidly lucky. Thank you so much. Any advice is appreciated.
That's the bit that gets me the most. Her last couple of sentences, that's the bit that has me the most deluded.
Yeah? Why is that?
Well, the presumption that people would think that she's proud or above others and that she's lucky. I just don't even get what she means.
So to provide some context, this particular subreddit is like a support group for women who cannot get a man because they're so ugly or untouchable. So... Yeah, it's brutal.
Okay, all right. So she's like, now I've got the hot guy, and okay.
This is why she's so nervous about, like, there may be a bunch of girls who are like, are you kidding? How dare you come here and play the victim when you can obviously get a good-looking boyfriend. You're not one of us. So she's really apologetic.
Okay, that's it. Yep. Okay, that context makes sense. All right. He's obviously not just in it for the sex. Okay.
He hasn't surprised her with it yet.
I had a client in a similar situation before, and my questions were like, is maybe the guy's on a bit of a dare or something, or like
I hope not.
Yeah, or it's possible, or on a sort of thing to crack a girl's virginity or something.
Yeah,
I don't know. he could have ulterior motives.
Yeah.
Like that. Or he could just be genuinely interested in her and it's all her own self-disbelief.
Yeah, I really hope it's the second one, because I find
So
it
do
sad
I,
that
yeah.
our first thought is maybe this guy's a jerk when he
Yeah.
sounds like a nice guy who's, not that shallow that he's... I mean, we have to assume that she's correct, that she is basically
Maybe he
unattractive.
can't stand all these Stacey girls. Maybe he finds them just shallow and cheesy, and he sees something really real and genuine in this chick.
You know what's sad is if she's going to Oxford, she's clearly very smart, but her self-esteem, that doesn't seem to make that much difference. She's still really...
Intelligence and self-esteem don't go together necessarily, do they?
I think sometimes it does for men. I mean, and maybe it does for a lot of women, but obviously not for this particular girl. Like, if you're smart and you're good enough to get into Oxford, into some program, you're like, wow, I'm an awesome person. But she's like, well, I'm ugly, so I'm worth nothing. That's sad.
But there's a lot of guys have that as well.
Yeah.
Like, academically confident and competent doesn't mean socially.
No.
In fact, it can often mean, like, you're just like, I'll just hide out in my little smart world and not have, this is where I'm successful and I don't have to deal with the...
15 or 20 years ago, when the pickup artist community first got established. Have you ever heard of that before?
No.
Oh yeah, it's men who study techniques on how to attract women.
Oh,
And
gross.
you find that disgusting? I'd love to get into that. But what they found was a bunch of guys who previously had no social skills whatsoever because they just didn't understand what was going on. Once they actually had men start to break down social interactions, like, here's why she'll be attracted to you if you do this. So do this, then do this. And then they're like, oh, it's like a maths formula. Like, I just need to pick up women as if I'm solving an algebraic equation. They suddenly had like a whole bunch of success.
Right. Wow. Is there a similar one for picking up men?
I'm not sure how much success women have in picking up men. I've never seen it tried before.
Oh, right. You think it has to go the other way around?
It doesn't have to. It'd probably be nice if it happened the other way, but it does seem to be one of those biological differences that men pursue and women choose.
Right.
Do you agree?
Well, I guess in this situation, it's like that. It's almost as though she hasn't quite chosen it.
Definitely.
Like, he's chosen her. Then she likes him, but you kind of want to know, like, what does she like about him?
If I was to meet her, I would ask this question. Are you with this guy who's out of your league by your own admission, because you're only attracted to good-looking guys? Like, you've never had any sexual experiences before. You've never had a boyfriend. And then the first guy that you're with is this extremely good-looking, attractive dude. Maybe your standards are really high and that you might have actually had some sexual experiences and some boyfriends before if you'd just been with some guys who were, less attractive. You think that's possible?
Yeah, it's possible that she's just attracted to the alpha type.
Yeah.
I guess that's what it means by the Stacey girl type. We're talking about kind of alpha male type, alpha female type, like they're
The alpha male is called Chad, and the alpha female, they're called Stacey. So
that's why I think it's American. That's very American. Like, Chad's not even an English name, is it?
I don't think so. It's got a real Ken and Barbie, like Malibu.
Yeah, yeah.
So have you ever heard of the term incel before? Mm-mm. Okay, so incel is shorthand for involuntary celibate. They call themselves incels because they want to have sex and they're celibate, but it's not out of choice. They just know women will kind of sleep with them, and so they hop online and they I guess hopefully discuss how to become more attractive to women. I think what probably happens is a lot of women bashing, like, women are so shallow and so mean for not sleeping with us, that kind of thing. What you're seeing here is a smaller sub-community, because I think there's probably quite a lot of incels in the world, lots of men who just can't get a girlfriend for whatever reason. Typically, women, even if they're unattractive, can usually find like a boyfriend. Like, I watched this show where women had like facial deformities and they were talking about their lives. They were all married, like, these were women who were objectively difficult to look at, but they still found men who were not superficial enough, that they could still date them. So here you've got a small community of women who claim to be so unattractive that no men will date them.
So again, like, I had a client once, a teenage girl who had a pretty so she knew how to take photos of herself online to make herself look pretty.
Yeah.
But the whole picture was this young girl with really low self-confidence, quite overweight and kind of, difficult to dress, a body type like that and stuff. But, kind of like quite a bit of spunk in her personality and willingness. And she had endless boyfriends, but it was really clear in the things that she told me that she just had a lot of guys that were in it for sex, like that were because she was up for it. So I guess being in that position for girls is a different sort of thing. It means not really likely to hold a relationship or to keep a guy. It's far more likely that guys are just going to kind of oversee the visual for the physical.
I think I understand what you're saying. It's almost like
benefits.
For an ugly man, the consequence will be that he's celibate, that he can't even get a girlfriend. For an ugly woman, she might only be used for sex. Like, that's sort of her cross to bear.
I find it really hard to even use the language, though, like to call someone ugly and stuff. Like,
sure.
I used to live in a house in the city next door to a house of guys, and there was 3 guys living in this house next door. One of whom was, they all studied the same course at uni together. One of them was, real self-confident, good looking, constantly had girlfriends, his peak, really. One of the other guys was overweight, glasses, bad skin, spent a lot of time in his room doing his cartoon work and stuff like that. Great personality. I used to hang out with him all the time. There's no way, I just assumed when I was hanging out with him that there was just no way there'd be any confusion about the time we spent together, because there's just, I just saw him as neutral. Can
I make a prediction?
Yeah.
He'd been harbouring sexual feelings for you, and he revealed them at some point, and you were taken off guard?
I won't go into the details of that, but yeah.
It's not an uncommon story.
Yeah.
What would have been the right way to handle that?
Well, so what he did do was pretty bad, but I couldn't help but forgive him because I understood. I was like, that must suck. He's like, I don't know, how old is he? In his early 20s, and he's living in a house, same sort of skills and great personality as the other guys around him, but they're, one of them's picking up girls all the time, one of them bit here, bit there, but not as kind of alpha male-ish as the other one, and he just nothing, and then he's got this pretty girl from next door who comes over and hangs out and chat to him endlessly, smoke pot with him endlessly, talk about the world endlessly, and he could probably see through his lounge room into my bedroom as well. Probably didn't help much. And
no comment.
And in retrospect, I was just like, shit, what does a guy like that do in that situation? Like, they've got kind of hormones and interests like anybody else, and yet it's like life just says, sorry, not your game. Like, it's coming at you from every different direction on TV, probably from sounds from the bedroom next door, and you're not allowed any.
Yeah.
And I always kind of think about that, like, what's that like for people? It doesn't mean I want to go there.
No, sure. So you have compassion for these guys, like this friend that you had who really just can't.
Yeah.
In that house, did you find yourself more attracted to the guy who had like a whole bunch of girlfriends, even if you potentially had less in common with him? Like, was he more sexually desirable?
Yeah.
Can you label why? What was it was different about him to your friend?
Well, he had a cleanliness about him in the way that he dressed and held himself. And he held himself with the picture. I mean, we're talking 20 years ago, yeah. So the picture of him is, really kind of straight backed and quite like self-confident, and just held himself well, strong and relaxed.
Yep, good posture, good hygiene, confident.
Yeah.
Do you think that pre-selection had anything to do with it? Do you know what that is?
No.
Pre-selection is this red pill theory that women are attracted to men who other women have already chosen as...
Totally.
Yeah, so you're seeing him with a whole bunch of girls and you're like, wow, there must be something to him, that kind of thing?
I don't think it's that. I don't think it's that you see him with other girls and you think that. I think it's that you feel his experience or relaxedness or at easeness around women.
Yep.
You just feel that in him.
Yeah, and it makes you feel safe.
It's not like I want what she's got kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
But what feeling does that evoke inside you when you see that confidence? Does that make you feel like safe? Like, oh, this guy's he gets it, that sort of thing?
I've never thought about that. Maybe it's like if it was a thought, which I don't think it is a thought. I think it's very unconscious. So I think it's an unconscious response.
Yeah.
Almost like there's a pathway between here and there that's already open, whereas with someone that hasn't been anywhere near a woman before, there's no pathway. So I would have to forge the pathway, and don't want to.
No, I really like that metaphor. That makes sense. Because in that instance, forging the pathway, you kind of have to take the masculine role, and that's not necessarily that attractive. You kind of want a guy who's like, yeah, that's all good, just come on in, rather than you're like, all right, I need to...
Yeah, but then it just sucks even more, doesn't it? Because it's almost like the image of there just being like a whole bunch of mess in the pathway that I have to kind of clear away, and I think the other thing is you can just tell when a guy doesn't actually have much sexual interaction with women and his entire sexual relationship is with himself, and that's unattractive.
So if you've got somebody who's like this girl, who's so unattractive she can't really get a boyfriend or keep a boyfriend, I mean, I don't think...
But is she? I mean, do you think she really is that unattractive if this guy's gone for her?
This is the question. I know that people have self-esteem issues with regards to their looks.
Do people have to post photos of themselves in order to join this?
No, it's anonymous.
Yeah. So, she could just be self-perceived unattractive because she lives in a context where everybody's like absolutely, perfect nose, perfect everything, and so she thinks she's ugly. I mean, I can look in the mirror on one day and go, oh my God, I'm so beautiful, and I can look in 5 minutes later and think, oh my God, I'm totally ugly. It's just a matter of perspective. It depends on who I've been hanging out with. If she's hanging out with a whole bunch of, picture perfect.
So does she evoke compassion for you, or are you more like, yeah, I'm actually suspicious as to whether or not she's actually got a real problem or if she's just whining?
No. I feel compassion for her. Give to yourself what you imagine a man would.
Yep.
And so then it's like you don't appear as though you're lacking it and hungry for it and desperate. You're not coming at the world with that neediness. Actually, you're filling your own cup.
Yep.
And that actually is more sustainable in a relationship anyway, because if you come into, even if you achieve a relationship, but you're coming at it with this like long, desperate sense of unmet need, it's going to burn out the relationship pretty quick.
Definitely. Very good advice. Here's something that I would give as advice to women who are facing this particular problem. I don't know how appropriate it is for me to give this advice because I haven't walked a mile in their shoes, but it seems to me that women on the whole, if you're dealing with this issue, you're focusing too much of your self-esteem based on your appearance, and it's still fundamentally a shallow thing. She's obviously smart, she's got a good enough personality, she's attracted this guy, she's in Oxford. She needs to stop focusing on her looks. Yeah, because she's still fundamentally quite a shallow and superficial state of mind to be in, and there's a lot of criticism in today's society about men objectifying women and judging them based off their looks. But from my experience, although men can be guilty of that, women are so guilty of judging themselves and each other by their own looks as well. And I think that it would do well, particularly for women who might have been gorgeous at 16, but with every year they get older, they get less and less kind of attractive. You need to start early developing a sense of self-worth and self-esteem based on something other than your appearance if you want to be taken seriously and have a good relationship with yourself. What would you say to that?
Yeah, it's like cultivating your inner spunk. Not meaning the other use of the word spunk.
I don't think anyone took it that way. I just think it's a fun word to say. Spunk.
I love that word.
Spunk.
But it is. It's like, that's what it is. It's like, you got a bit of inner juice and excitement. Like someone can be really physically beautiful on the outside and have zilch personality. Okay, somebody might just enjoy to get physical with them, but it's personality that holds and maintains relationship.
Definitely.
Developing self-knowledge and emotional maturity, like kind of capacity within yourself, that also gives the message to someone else that you have the capacity to hold and nurture and love them.
Yep.
Like if you just kind of void inside, then... Because there's two things that go on. One, there's physical attraction, and the other one is we're always looking for someone else who can hold and nurture us and meet our needs for love and companionship and fun and laughter and pleasure. And so looks are only a very small part of that. That's just the initial attraction part.
Yeah.
And the other parts are all to do with your inner capacity.
Yeah, definitely.
And so it's great to have time when you're single because you can actually really get into cultivating that. You can cultivate that with just hanging out with friends and how you sort of fill your cup with the cultural world that you're a part of, what books you read, you know, what you think about, how you express yourself.
Yeah, in the red pill community, they even have an expression called going monk mode, and what it means is removing yourself temporarily from the dating market and cultivating all of those inequalities, studying, learning, and starting to create a new life until you've sort of reached your Zen state, and then you re-enter the world a more confident man. So I have compassion at the moment because this girl's obviously struggling, and I don't know what her experiences in life have been up until this point. So I don't judge her for her insecurities. But if she was to write the same thing in 5 years and she hasn't made progress, I would absolutely lose all of my compassion.
How old is she? Did she say?
She's gone to college. She's at Oxford. College. So I'd imagine 22, 23 or so.
Yeah.
If she reaches mid to late 20s and she's still suffering with the same problems, I'm thinking, well, you've got stuck, and this is now your own fault. You're suffering because of, you know, your own choices. She
obviously gets quite disabled by these pretty good
Stacey girls.
Yeah, it's like as soon as she sees one, she just kind of obviously goes, oh, I'm nothing inside, you know. And so you have to be able to see that and actually dissolve that trigger for yourself. So you have to get, you know, she's smart, she can work this out. You just kind of work it. So how do you hold your body when that happens? How do you hold your sense of self and your own personality? Like, you don't kind of go, you don't look at all that and go, oh, I'm nothing. Holding your own sense of self, like really kind of there's that sense of an inner smile, how you know, just smiling inside at yourself, just a sense of self-enjoyment. Just hold your own energy here, don't launch over there, because he'll feel that. If you hold yourself when those girls are around, that's what he's going to find attractive. If you just kind of like wither and deplete when you see those girls, he's just going to unconsciously start turning towards them and away from you.
Because confidence is sexy. It is, you know. I really don't think that this relationship is sustainable, because you can't have a functional relationship where one person feels like they're not worthy of the other. I mean, it'll go for a couple of weeks, but that is an inherently unsustainable arrangement. She needs to be with a guy who she feels worthy of, at least to start with, and then if he turns out to be a loser, as she improves her self-esteem, then maybe she can work back up to a guy of this kind of caliber. But in the short term, I think she's just going to make herself miserable.
On one level, it's boosting her confidence because she's with him. But on the other level, it's actually completely undermining and destroying her even worse, probably.
She's a virgin. He's not a virgin. Do you think that that'll bother him? Or do you think men don't care about that sort of thing?
I have no idea about what men care about.
Is it something she should be insecure about?
I don't know. I was really lucky. I lost my virginity to someone who was also a virgin. So I never had that experience of it being one or the other. And that's, as a mum, that's what I would want for my kids as well, to have their first experience with someone else's first experience. It's just nice to discover together.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
Occasionally I hear people say that it's a good idea for like an older woman to teach a young guy the tricks of the trade or something like that, and I couldn't disagree more. I feel like your first experience should be an awkward, sweaty, crying, totally. Laughing mess, and you should both like be in the same
total fuck up, literally. And then you can just both laugh about it because you both have no idea what you're doing, and there's no power differential there then. Thanks guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please leave a comment below letting us know what you think of True Fem Cells, the subreddit, the advice that we gave, what advice you'd give her. Any and all comments, we'd love to hear from you. Make sure you hit that like button. If you haven't already done so, make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you're a fan of this channel and you appreciate the work that I do, you want to see more videos like this, please consider supporting me on Patreon. There's a link in the description box below. I want to thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you again next time. Cool.